What's up, my good people, and welcome back in to the Bully Ball Show on Sparks TV. I'm your host, Nino Sparks the Don, aka the Mid Range Bully. Now, back from my long hiatus with another breakdown as only I can do. Before we get started, lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. I was gonna do a long episode, try to give you a couple different teams, jump back into things. But it's really only one team that matters, and that's the home team, my Los Angeles Lakers. So I will be giving you some other videos on some other teams at a later time. But before we get started, if it's your first time tapping in, and you can see I ain't tapped in a minute, that's why the intro is a little off. But if it is your first time tapping in, or maybe you've tapped in before, maybe you've been here a few times, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, stay tapped in. Fix the crop, let's get it. Now, my Los Angeles Lakers, who currently sit at 23 and 27, 10th in the West, about four spots out of that. I think the fourth spot or the sixth spot, whatever. About four spots, about four games removed from the play-in tournament. We take on the Brooklyn Nets, who sit at 30 and 19, fourth in the East. No surprise there. I think you could look back at some of my videos. I think I said, Brooklyn will be in that top five. I think most basketball connoisseurs, we pictured that. Now, I could get into the semantics. I can get into the hyperbole. I can get into how we've been getting robbed in some of these games. Most recently the Celtics. We all seen that, man. But rather than to get into that, I'm going to get into the more important shit. It's time for the trade. Rob Pelinka, I love what you did. See, I didn't jump on Rob. I almost did. I almost made a video a couple weeks back, but I chose not to act on my emotions. Because we gave Rob Pelinka, I like to say we as if, I'm part of the organization myself. We gave Rob Pelinka that extension, or maybe he gave it to himself. And it seemed like he was sitting back twiddling his thumbs. And then when I seen, we went and got Sterling Brown, I don't know what that was about. Maybe that's some contractual shit, behind the scenes. They making space, they doing this, they doing that. But that just seemed like a slap in the face to me. I'm like, if you want a guy to just sit on the bench and clap, you could have called your boy, the mid-range bully. But then you go and get Rui Hachimura, a player that I've always liked him at Gonzaga, liked him when he came in the league. I just felt bad for him. I felt like he was going to waste away in Washington. No disrespect to the Wizard fans. But we've done a video on them. We told you at the beginning of the season they should have been packed it up at the beginning of the season, and they maybe would have been in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. I don't know where they're sitting at now. But that's not the important part. We're not even here to talk about Rui, who has been playing well. His three balls gonna come, but that's not why we need him. We need a guy that you can dish him the ball. He knows his role. He can go get a bucket on his own. He doesn't need to be set up. He doesn't need to be in the right spot. He can go get to his spot. And I think when he meshes in and those guys give him the confidence to let him know, like, hey, you don't need to be deferring like that. We give you the ball, get to your shit. I think Anthony Davis told him something similar to that. But if there is a trade to be made, and Rob Pelinka, I like your poise. I like how you speak in quotes. I dig that shit. But if there is a trade to be made, we here to break it down for you like a fraction. I like to say we as in we and the people, because y'all can tap in. That's what we here to do. This is an open conversation. I'm just here to kick it off. So who are we talking about? Let's present our case. The first team that comes to my mind is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Excuse me for typing it in. The Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't know why it's not just popping up. Boom, there we go. I don't know what y'all are doing, but y'all are on the clock. Said at the beginning of the season, like, I knew y'all would have a cool little team. Y'all always seem to have a cool little team. I like the way that they draft over there. I think what is it, Sam Presti? The way you draft is beautiful, but you have a history of not being able to keep the guys. Why? Maybe because you're in Oklahoma City. No disrespect. It's probably a great town, but you got a guy who's a lot further ahead of the other guys you got, and that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Lakers are not getting SGA. But we here to play the scenario out. Eventually, you got to hand the keys to Josh Giddey. He's supposed to be a point guard, right? He's a good player. He could be a great player. Chet Holmgren, I still love. You could have been in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. You sitting on picks. You done had picks for years. It's time to make a move. So what am I proposing? Lakers give up Austin Reeves, Patrick Beverley, Troy Brown Jr., JTA, 2 first-round picks. That's 6 players. And shit, mate, if you want a second-round pick, if we got one, you can have a 2050 round pick if you want one. We'll throw in a second-rounder. So 6 players in exchange for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lu Dort. Now, why does this make sense? If you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, you might as well do it. You got a history in doing this shit anyway. You think I'm lying? They let KD walk out the door. You traded, what's his name? You lost Harden. You lost, what's his name? Ibaka. Traded Westbrook. Traded Paul George. Traded for Victor Oladipo. Then traded him again, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe you lost him. Steven Adams. We can keep going on. Like I said, you draft beautifully. You just haven't been able to keep guys. Now maybe this young core, maybe this is how you do it. Maybe you can still get in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. You got a great program. That would be a great team for him to go to. Because I'm going to do another video on Wembanyama, because we can't let him go to a horrible situation. The NBA does not. We do not want to see that shit. But back to the trade. Why would it make sense for you? Start now. Stock up on some stuff now. You'll get off Pat Bev if you don't want to keep him, which you've seen what he can kind of do with a young team. We've seen that with Minnesota. I just think he's having an off year playing with. It's a lot of expectations with the Lakers. But I like Pat Bev. You get a young player in Austin Reeves who probably doesn't have the highest ceiling. I'm not going to say all-star ceiling, but I think he can be a productive starter. In this list, a lot of guys are starting and don't do the shit that he can do. You get some more young players in Troy Brown Jr., who can be a rotational piece. JTA, who can be a rotational piece. He reminds me a lot of Andre Roberson. Now still, the first round picks, that's really what we're getting. That's really how can I put it? That's really the thing that can shape out to be something. Because let's be honest, you're not going to be able to keep SGA either way. And for the Lakers, this makes all the sense in the world. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he was born to play with LeBron. That's the perfect Lu Dort 3 and D. To me, that's an upgrade from Pat Bev. I like Troy Brown Jr., but we probably have to throw him in that pot. Now, that trade will be a long shot. But if you can't get that, that'd be big fishing. If you can't get that, the next team to watch out for would be the Chicago Bulls. Lastly, the Oklahoma City Thunder. You are your game under 500. So you're not necessarily doing that bad. Shit, you ahead of us. But if you're being honest, what is the game plan? A first round exit, even if you could make the play. I mean, you got to realize too, some of these teams, let's be honest, they just focused on selling tickets. And if Oklahoma, they've always had a great attendance, with their fans, but it's like you got to give them something at some point. So if you can even be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, I feel like that'd be a win. That'd be a better win than you basically holding up SGA. It's a good weed is kicking in. All right, hold on. Chicago Bulls, you're on the clock. Now, Chicago Bulls, who sit at 10th in the East. Tragically disappointing. I saw you and I thought you would at least be in the top 5. I had a feeling that you would kind of get snake bitten by the injuries. It just something about the Bulls, man. It just didn't add up. Is Lonzo even still in the league? I don't know what's going on with Lonzo. I'm assuming he's hurt. Zach LaVine, is he playing? Is he hurt? He can't stay on the court. Looking at your team, like you got a playoff team on paper. But the Chicago Bulls have been tragically disappointing year after year. So you got to wonder, do you cash out now? Or do you wait and see if you can get into the play-in and what? Be a first-round exit? Because even at full strength, those top-tier teams you're not beating. You're not getting past the Milwaukee. You're not getting past Philly. You're not getting past the Celtics. Should have said the Celtics first, but whatever. Not getting past Brooklyn. Who else is out there? Shit, Toronto. Toronto might be a better team than you. I think Toronto, you on the clock. You know what I'm saying? It's time for y'all to do something too. But shit, that's 4 or 5 teams right there. Cleveland. You're not beating Cleveland. So in Chicago, remember I said it, that's the next team to watch. So what can we propose? Lakers give up 2 first-round picks. Pat Bev. And I don't even know, do they still have Damon Jones? Damon Jones. Shit, you probably have to throw in Troy Brown. Or JTA. One of those guys. In exchange for DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. I almost called him Jokic. Nikola Vucevic. Now, I know what you're thinking. You was probably thinking I was going to say Zach LaVine. As much as I love Zach LaVine's game, we already got a guy that can't stay on the court. and that's AD. So we don't need to add another all-star and then possibly have both of these guys sitting on the sideline like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So let's take the guy that can stay on the court. Compton's finest. Was born to wear a Laker uniform. Went to USC. Plays at the Drew League. Embodies everything that LA basketball is. We've seen a little preview in the Drew League with him and LeBron. I think that was a hint. My man don't do nothing. My man Bron, he don't do nothing if it ain't strategic. Add DeMar DeRozan to the mix, he can jump right in. Why Vucevic? Because we're a little light in the pocket at the 5 spot. I know what people are thinking. Oh, AD looks good at the 5. How did that work out for us? He looked good at the 5 till he didn't. I think you play Thomas Bryant with AD, move LeBron back to his natural spot, or he was really meant to be the point guard. So you can put a DeMar DeRozan at the 3 spot. You can put Schroeder at the 2 and have LeBron running the floor. Now I know what you're thinking. We need the 3. We need the 3. What about what's his name? If you want to play Rui Hachimura in the starting lineup, which could be a good factor too, then you do play AD at the 5 and have Rui at the 4. Because then we're small, but we're still big. Throw Bron back at his natural spot at the 3. Put DeRozan at the 2, which he's played. And have Dennis Schroeder as your point guard. Now that might, I don't know really how that will work defensively. DeMar DeRozan, I know he ain't no slouch on the defensive end, but it's not like he's a 3-and-D guy. You know, he more so gives you something on the other end. And I think Vucevic will be a great player coming off the bench. You know, hitting threes, picking, popping. You know, I think he will work good with Russ, who's used to working with a guy who could set solid screens like a Steven Adams. You know, now it's different when you got Wenyen Gabriel setting those screens. You know, this Vucevic, that's like a brick wall going around. If you don't like that trade, we'll talk about Indiana Pacers, who sit at 11th in the East, who should have been made a trade with us. I know what you're thinking. I'm not going to go for the whole, Miles Turner is obviously off the table now, or could be, because to be honest with you, contracts mean nothing in the NBA today. Contract is just a bargaining chip today in the NBA. You've seen guys sign max contracts, and then the next season, or in the same season, they end up on different teams. So the Pacers step to the stand. Pacers, you got your future backcourt in Tyrese Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin. So I'm assuming guys like Buddy Hield and Chris Duarte, they will be available. So the Pacers give up Chris Duarte, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner in exchange for Austin Reeves, Patrick Beverley. Seems like I'm trying to get rid of Beverley, right? Austin Reeves, Patrick Beverley, Troy Brown Jr., JTA. 2 first-round picks. Hell, we'll give you Damon Jones in exchange for Buddy Hield, Chris Duarte, and Miles Turner. Now, this is a trade that's probably the most possible, and there's probably another trade out there that we don't even see coming. Just like I didn't see the Rui Hachimura thing coming. I liked him on our squad for years, but didn't see that coming. This makes sense for both teams if you look at it from the Pacers' perspective. You're not going to be able to keep all these guys. They've been on the trading block. Like I said, you got your future backcourt. Most people are thinking that they won't keep Turner. They probably do want to keep Turner. But it's looking like Chris Duarte and Buddy Hield, those would be the two guys that would probably be on the trading block moving forward. Because you want, if you look at Chris Duarte's game, you want a guy that if he's going to be coming off the bench, you probably want a veteran in that role, or a guy that's been in the league for a couple more seasons that you know you can plug in there. You're not going to be able to keep all these young guys happy, unless you're playing them all. So they agreed to trade those. In return, you get another young guy in Austin Reeves. You get a guy in Patrick Beverley. We're really giving you spare parts, but I'm trying to put it together. You get a guy in Patrick Beverley who, as I said, you seen what he did with Minnesota. He's good with young guys. Or you can just get off his contract. You get Troy Brown Jr., another good young guy who's been in the league a couple of years, who can get you some buckets, be a solid role player off the bench or in your starting lineup. You get a guy in JTA, 3-and-D. It's really deep, defense pause. Doesn't really give you much 3. But those 2 first-round picks in Austin Reeves, that would be the thing. Because if you're the Pacers and you got this young team to keep hold of some assets, that be in your favor as you let these young guys develop and take the next step, which Tyrese Halliburton, I don't think they're that far off. I think you can look up and have a solid backcourt. One of the most solid backcourts. I would put them behind Cleveland, right behind their backcourt. Moving forward, that would be a problem. You get in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, which I really wouldn't want to see, but you never know. Imagine him ending up, and you got Benedict Mathurin and Tyrese Halliburton. That's a team. I think Wembanyama is going to be good right away. That's a team that can be in the playoffs next season. Be in the mix. Like I said, we be looking at them like we looking at Cleveland right now. And if you see Miles Turner as that dude, you keep him out of there. But if from the Lakers' perspective, as I said about DeRozan, Buddy Hield was meant to be in a Laker uniform. Seen this dude at Oklahoma score 50-something against Kansas. Go back and watch. I don't think he hasn't had a game like that in the NBA. But he was meant to be in that purple and gold. Idolized Kobe. Meant to play with LeBron. And that's one of the key things we're missing. But I like him if there's another good player coming along with him. If we putting all our eggs into the Buddy Hield basket, that's not going to get it done. Because no offense to Buddy Hield, but it's a reason he's possibly on his way to a third team. Because as good as he is, he don't really give you much on the other end of the floor. And I could be wrong. Maybe I ain't watched him enough. But even coming into the league, he wasn't known for his defense. He was known for what he can do on the offensive end. Shit, maybe he come to the squad, maybe he play better defense. Got more of a reason now. Got more of a chance to win. Do it big. You in the big city. Maybe he rises and shines. But I like him if there's another person coming along with him. Chris Duarte, that'd be a great person to be coming along with him. Now, just with those two guys, our 3-point shooting, that problem would be fixed. Because Buddy Hield is, I think, one of the fastest players to like 3,000 threes or 20,000, some shit like that. Not a good 3-point shooter, a great one. We've seen other guys who are supposed to be sharpshooters come to the squad and they can't hit nothing. Wayne Ellington. Matthews. Danny Green was shooting a lot of bricks when he was on the team. KCP was shooting a lot of bricks when he was on the team. Now, when it counted, we got it done. But if you a Laker fan and you watched the whole season, you know, it was a lot of times where we was looking at these dudes like, you supposed to be a shooter, my dude. Buddy Hield, I don't think we're going to have that problem. Chris Duarte, I don't think we're going to have that problem. If we can get a Miles Turner. Can we throw in a package that doesn't fuck up our continuity? To where it's like we starting at the beginning and it's the end of the season. We need to be able to plug 2 or 3 guys right in. Now, breaking it down on a basketball standpoint, how would that work on the court? Suppose I think them re-signing Miles Turner was a bargaining chip. So if we could get a Miles Turner, you play him with AD. You could play him with AD, Rui. You can go Buddy Hield and Bron. Now, would this trade include Westbrook? I'm hoping not. Because like I said, can we make a trade without fucking up the continuity? Because when it comes down to really winning, you're going to need guys that have made runs in the playoffs. When we won, we had guys that had made runs in the playoffs. Maybe they hadn't done it all, but we had guys like Danny Green who had been there. You had guys like Bron, who had been there. AD, though he didn't make deep runs in the playoffs, he was used to being the guy. So we're going to need to replicate some of that. If you putting all your eggs in one basket, like if that was the case, Bron would have never wanted to trade for AD in the first place. He would have ran with them young guys that we had. You need people that in the moment are used to being that guy. Westbrook is used to being that guy. He's done it for years. So regardless of what you think about him in the regular season, which we watched that tune change quickly, right? People like myself who know basketball, you can go back at the old videos and look, and I told you he was going to get it together, right? The same player who y'all wanted traded, people was booing whenever he took a shot, and then turn around and motherfuckers is chanting MVP when he hit the free throw line. So listen to me when I tell you we're going to need guys like that. That's why I wasn't so quick to trade Patrick Beverley at first. But at this point, his contract is a bargaining chip. He's been more of a problem than he's been a help. The shit with the camera, that shit was extra'd out. Done a lot of strange shit through the season. And when it comes time to start winning, we can't have them type of distractions. Although he did have a good game. Did do some good things. But at this point, if we can utilize that contract and mix in these young guys. As much as I wouldn't want to see Austin Reeves go, as good as he has been when he was playing, I think they've been sitting him purposely. You know, out of all the young guys, Lonnie Walker is the one who's played the best. Now, I know what you're thinking. We already got a lot of guards. But we need shooting. I'm seeing a lot of these guards, they kicking the ball out to them and they not hitting shit. Chris Duarte could take Troy Brown Jr.'s minutes. Buddy Hield can take Patrick Beverley's minutes in the starting lineup. You'd have Thomas Bryant, AD, Rui, Buddy, and Bron. That's the starting lineup. Then coming off the bench, Russ, Schroeder, Lonnie. We can play small. We can go Lonnie, Duarte, and Wenyen Gabriel. That's the lineup. Now, the Lakers, they're going to have to do something, man. What trades do you propose are the best trades? Do you think we roll with the Oklahoma and try to go for the home run with SGA and Duarte? That's my favorite trade. Because those are two, Lou Dort. Because those are two guys we can plug right in. Or do we go with the second trade? Chicago Bulls, hometown kid DeMar DeRozan. Plug him right in the starting lineup. Nikola Vucevic, add another big body. Plug him in. You seen, that's when we won the championship, was when we had two bigs that could split that time at that 5 spot and preserve AD at his natural position. That's when he looked the most dominant, when we won a championship. Not the little sample size he showed us and then got hurt. So do you like that second trade, Chicago Bulls? They're going to have to do something. Or do you like the third trade, Indiana Pacers? Buddy Hield, Chris Duarte. For Austin Reeves, Pat Bev, 2 first-round picks, and whatever the fuck else you want. Can we still get a Miles Turner? Lakers probably didn't have the money to sign him. Maybe that's why the Pacers signed him. Let's keep focused. Y'all let me know in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. It's been great to jump back in with you. I'll be back with another video shortly. Peace and love.